Okay,
And
we're
we're live.
starting.
Yep.
Christine, introduce it. You said you were.
All right, Nick. I thought you said you were. So, anyways, hello, everybody. Episode 4. As you can see, we have a special guest, and I am super excited. Carrie and I were talking about how excited we are. This is Brittany Wilson. I will turn it over to our sister, Nikki, who is dear friends with Brittany, and she'll kind of bring us up to speed on who Brittany is and why we decided to bring her on. So this is really, really exciting. Nikki?
Thanks, Teeny.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Britt, she's one of my dearest friends, and thank you so much for joining us. The reason we all wanted Brittany on is because I think Brittany is the true definition of grit and tenacity, and being a single working mom, especially in the fitness industry, which is typically male dominated. It's just really impressive to see how you've grown and to see how you've grown as a person and just your story. I'm lucky enough to know. So we just want to get to know you deeper, and we want the world to get to know you deeper, and hopefully other women, in particularly moms, can look at what you've done with your life and really putting yourself first and growing the way that you have, to hopefully it will inspire them to do the same. So,
and real quick, was a single working mom.
Was a single working mom. Yes. Now she
Brock
is
had to swoop on in. Some of my thunder.
So I'm going to let Britt introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what she does. And then we're just going to ask you questions here on my living room floor.
I'm here for that. I'm Brittany Wilson. I coach at my gym with my husband. We own it together. It's called Force Performance. I coach all the classes. We do strength days, high performance days, basically classes with a purpose. You're not coming in just to sweat. All the workouts have purpose to them. And then my husband runs his one-on-one training. He trains athletes, small teams, small groups, all things like that. I have a 7-year-old named Lucas, who I have with my ex-husband, but then Brock is also a very major father role in his life. And I guess that's it. I really like cooking. I have too many workout clothes.
And you are a sweet.
And I like tennis.
Yeah.
Tennis?
Yeah, I just started playing tennis last February, and I mean, I think I'm pretty good.
She's really good.
I'm really good.
Yeah, you're probably one of those that just starts a sport and you're just a stud.
Yeah.
I never played sports either, so like for me, it's like actually fun because I'm like, oh, like I should have played sports because I'm good at them, and I was a waste of a.
That's so wild to me that you didn't.
I know. I'm shocked by that.
I know, that is crazy. So now you're a gym owner. How many members do you guys have?
We're a little over 210 and just classes, but then we still have like all the one-on-one. We have 3 independent contracted coaches. Okay. So they bring in their own clients and train them there and then just kind of pay us an overhead to use the gym. So there's constantly people in and out.
Right. And then you're located in St. Louis, I know, right?
Yeah, we're in Brentwood off Strassner.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, I had the privilege of going there once and it was freaking amazing. First of all, your equipment is the bomb. Like everything's new. It's amazing. I love your theme, the purple, but yeah, you guys kicked my ass with your workouts. And I'd like to say, it was awesome. But, yeah, Nikki, so how, tell us a little bit.
I want to talk about the first time I met Brittany, and this is a big reason why I wanted to have her on. So Brittany and I were working out at a gym at the same time. We were in the same class, and at the time you were, you were working, I think you were working 5 jobs. Mm-hmm. So what were your jobs at this time?
It was like, I had just fresh single mommy and trying to make things on my own. I did social media stuff, so just posting in general. I coached at 2 gyms. I worked for a company called Defiance Fuel, and then I managed a fit magazine in St. Louis. It was STL Fit. I managed the whole thing, created it, and built it out. So, yeah.
I mean, literally insane. So I met her, and you should have seen her doing burpees. I think she was 45 feet in the air. I mean, I was literally the most insane. I was trying to keep up with her, and
her legs are 10 feet long alone.
Yeah, her legs are, and mine are this big. And so she literally was so strong. And then I remember being just like drawn to you. Like I wanted to be your friend. And as you guys know, I'll walk up to anybody. So I walked up to her and we started talking. And she had told me how she was a single mom and she was working all these jobs. And at that time, Lucas and Layla are around the same age.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were like probably 2, 3 at the time. And
Britt,
so
did you know who Nikki was at that point?
No
No.
idea.
that's what I love. She didn't know, like she
Yeah.
just came into this. The funny thing is with St. Louis too, if you come in and you're not really from here, it's hard to get acquainted.
Yeah.
It really is difficult for people. And it's like Britt came in and it was no effort. Like she
You're
just
not from St.
everyone
Louis?
loved her. What'd you say?
You're not from St. Louis?
I'm from like St. Charles. I grew up in Winslow.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
crossing the bridge was a big deal.
Right. Because like that's where you had stayed and then you
Yeah.
kind of came over. Yeah. So it was, but anyway, so then I had asked her what she had done for a living and all that stuff. And she had told me, and we just instantly connected, and she put up a picture of us on Instagram, and I didn't have Instagram, and she thought I was a complete weirdo. And then from that point on, and then like, it was crazy how we ended up kind of always together. Like,
Yeah.
then she had started kind of seeing Brock, and Brock was like, wait, I know that girl. Like, I know Nikki. I've known her family forever. And it was just like, almost like, not to sound cliche, but it was like a cosmic thing.
Yeah.
It was so crazy. And then I started going to another gym in St. Louis, and Brittany was training there at the time. Then I asked her to train me. And the cool thing about Brittany is, like, any trainer that I've ever had in the past or anyone that I've ever worked with, I always felt this like pressure. Like, I always felt a level of, you need to be here or show up and stuff. Like, there was just always a level of pressure. With Brittany, she was like, you're going to do this when you're really ready. And I just always knew that she was going to be there. So when I did get to a point like Christine, right before joining Angie Method, when I got to a point where I was like, I really want to get back in the gym, Lauren actually was going, our mutual friend Lauren was going to Force, and she was like, you should just start coming with me. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I know Britt really well. I've worked out with her before. Like, it would be natural to just go there. Started going, and the community that's there, guys, I truly can't explain it to you. It, honest to God, is like a family. And that there's a group of us that all go to 5 a.m. classes, and it's an insane group of people, and everyone's so funny. And like, Brittany and Brock have really created that. But like, the classes are Brittany's baby, and she's the one that like has really created, and Brock would agree, has created that really family environment, even to the point where like Layla goes with me, and now Layla does some of the workouts with me. And like, she was looking at herself in the mirror the other night. She goes, Mom, look how strong I am. Like, and she, Layla, she loves Brittany. So it just exemplifies the person that you are. But enough about that. I want to go into like,
I just want to say something too, and you're probably going to go into it, but this is the first time we've met. But one thing, and not to be a creep, but I follow like your stories and things like that. And we haven't really had a chance to introduce your now husband, Brock. But one thing that I do appreciate about the both of you is, yes, you're very involved in the fitness industry, but you also speak out on mental health and things like that, where it's like you guys are very focused on not just your physical well-being, but also your mental well-being. And that's just one thing that you don't see a lot of that. Like, maybe now it's becoming a bit more common, but I would say you two were probably the first that really, I felt like, highlighted it and made it a focus. So I personally really appreciate that about you. I've really respected the both of you from day one for speaking out about that. Which is probably why one of the main reasons we wanted you here too, is just because you seem to be passionate about that.
And just genuinely seem like passionate about helping others and just being a safe place for people. And I would love to just kind of hear about, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us and with, the listeners about like your upbringing, where you started and how you got to where you are today. And, just, I'd love to hear about that if you wouldn't mind.
I mean, I always feel like there's so much, but then how to compress it.
Yeah. No, we'll say it, like, just talk about your story.
So my parents, I guess I'll start with them. They were together very young. My mom got pregnant at 15 and had my sister by the time when she was 16. Then my brother at 17, me at 19. her and my dad got married while she was 15 and he was 18, and they had moved out at that point. So they, in a way, like when I was younger, I always like looked up to my mom in that sense. I was like, I'm going to have babies when I'm 16 and I'm 7 years. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're not doing that. But I always like, as I got older, I appreciated the hard work it must have had to take to raise 3 kids while they were babies themselves. So we didn't have like I would say like luxurious childhood. Like my parents weren't well off. They worked very hard, but I mean, we didn't get everything we wanted. I hate saying like I didn't come from money, but like we didn't have anything great. Like we shopped at Aldi's, like we got hand-me-downs, we went to the Goodwill. And so like for me in my mind, like being raised that way, I assumed like that's how I was just going to be when I grew up. Like I'd work a 9 to 5 and that's about as good as it's going to get. Cause like nobody in my family owns businesses or does anything extravagant. So childhood was great though. Had a great time. Lots of playing. But as I got older, I felt like it was almost drilled into, I feel like it is for a lot of people, this pattern of like you meet somebody and then you get an apartment together and then you get married, you get a house together, then you have a kid. And it's just like there's these steps you take when you find your person, and that's just life. And I feel like a lot of people might settle into that just because it's routine. And I feel like I did do that. I met my ex when I was 18. He was a manager at a car wash we worked at. And I was like infatuated with him because I just thought he was cute. And so we started dating. And then 6 months later, we like moved in together. And then we started that pattern. We moved in together. We moved to like 3 different places. Then we bought a house. And then by the time I was 26, he finally proposed. So then I was like, okay, here's this like next step I'm supposed to check off my list. So we get married. It took us a 1.5 years to get pregnant with Lucas. I had a couple infertility issues and struggled getting pregnant with him. And then when I finally got pregnant, I was like, okay, check. Here's the next thing on my list. And then it was about I was right after I had Lucas, I think, because I started staying home part-time. So I'd work, my mom, me, my sister, and my grandma all worked at a doctor's office together.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So like it was really easy for me to be like, my sister at the time had just had twins the year prior. So she was already at home. So we had decided we would alternate. I would stay home with the kids 2 days a week or 3 days a week. And she stayed home with the kids 3 days a week. So like we could work and then alternate and not have to pay for daycare. And it was staying home that like I fully realized, sadly, that like I wasn't in love with my husband that I had married. I like would come home for the day from work and I was just like, man, like I'm not excited for him to pull into the driveway. Like, I'm like, that's wrong. Like I should be excited to see the person I'm married to. And it's not that anything was like wrong. Like we never fought. We never had a single fight, but it's because like we never communicated. There was just literally lived together and hung out together. And through the whole, I was with him for 13 years. Through the whole 13 years, like my love for fitness, it started when I was 18 and just got deeper and deeper and deeper. It was always made to feel like I was weird. They're like, nobody works out every day. Nobody eats this healthy. Like even my family, like everyone's like, could you eat like something else? Or like, I mean, I did go through a phase of not eating it as much as I should. But it was always just like this thing they hounded on me for. And no matter how much money I brought in doing, like I did online training and I would bring like 30, 40K in a month. And like nothing was like good enough for him in a sense. I felt like there was never like a pat on the back or like a good job, or it was always like, I felt like I hit it. I would like go in the basement and do like my workout things and like post everything in the basement. And then when I finally was just like, I can't do it. And I was like, I need space to figure out in my mind, like what's right. Because I did want to think about Lucas and I'm like, this is a big deal if I decide to leave his dad. Like I was always somebody that was like, when you marry somebody, that's who you're with till you die. Like that's it. That's all, like nothing else to it. So I was like, oh my God, am I going to be that person that like gets a divorce? So I went and stayed with my mom and dad for like a week. And by then I had started working for STL Fit magazine, and that got me more into the fitness world in St. Louis. I had to like travel to gyms and do interviews and workouts and talk to other fitness people in the industry. And that's how I met Brock, because I interviewed him for the magazine. And that opened my eyes to realizing I'm not weird and that like this is normal. And there are other people with the same hearts and desires and passions. And So I told my ex, I was like, I can't do it anymore. Like, you're just not my person and I have to leave. And it was like a shock to him and my entire family, I think, just because for so long, nothing seemed wrong. And I was like, we just don't always know what goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And I'm very hard to figure out my feelings and I don't talk about them that much. So I'm like, I didn't even know what was going on. And when I left, it was very hard on them. And they took it almost like a 180. I thought, like, my dad and my brother were very much like, we'll kill for you. Like, anybody hurts you, anybody touch you, we'll kill for you. And that had flipped. They were like on my ex's side. Anything he needed. I was like this home wrecker, this horrible person. I didn't know what I was doing. At the time, me and Brock were doing fit field trips. The magazine had recommended we do those together to build like a community. We were legit friends, like nothing more. And my dad would like send me like screenshots of us together and be like, you home wrecker, and like, how dare you do this to your ex, and you're a cheater. And I'm like, and no matter what I said, they like never believed me. So it was like this pattern of like, felt like I was like hitting my head against the wall of like trying to get my blood to like believe what I was saying. And I left Nate everything. We had our house and like everything. I left him everything in the house. I left him the house and I left with Lucas. I got an apartment in Ballin, which, like I said, traveling over the bridge was like a big deal. Yeah. So I was like, here I am in this like 2-bedroom apartment with my kid. I didn't have furniture for like a month. So me and Lucas just like slept on the floor and
oh my gosh,
slowly just like got my bearings. And I mean, that's, I think when I met Nikki, it was just like eye-opening to me. I was like, oh my God, like another single mom. And like, we just connected that way. And Brock was a big role in it. He was the only person in my whole, like my life that was like, you need to do what's good for you. Like I would go to his house and we would just sit there and he'd be like, he would just let me cry and talk, and he wouldn't judge or try to push me to go one way or the other. Yeah. And that brought us really close in that sense. And I mean, after 9 months of being best friends, we finally were like, we actually love each other more than friends, and we should. Yeah. But it was a lot. And I still have a hard time processing because, like, for me, I still love my family a lot, and I still can't process how you treat somebody the way they treated me when you love them. I mean,
have they gotten better with you since?
I haven't talked to my dad in 3 years. He sent me like a birthday text once. And then same thing with my brother. I mean, my brother's had a baby and he's pregnant, and I've not met the baby or heard anything. My sister's good. She'll check in, and like she came to Lucas's recent birthday, and my mom has come around. But like I tell Brock, I'm like, it's so weird now because like my mom was my best friend, and I feel like every time I see them, it's like just catching them up on my life. And I'm like, you don't even know what's going on with me. Like, you don't know the people in my life anymore. And it's like the crazy thing, but it's also like, I feel like it's a beautiful thing is everybody that's like in my life now, I've met since I left. And I feel closer to my people now. Like she said, like the gym's family, my girlfriends, like are my family. I would call them before I called anybody else if I had a problem. And it was crazy to me at the time as my family was like, telling me what I was doing was wrong. Everybody else that like I knew growing up, like my parents' friends were like messaging me like, you're glowing, you look beautiful, you look so happy, we're so proud of you. And I'm like, how do all these people see this? But like my own family can't see it. Yeah. And it was just hard to, I guess, mentally deal with it when I didn't think that was what I was raised into. And then to realize that.
I know, I can't imagine and I found myself getting like emotional because, and I've only met you once, but I follow like your gym and just everything. And I like, even my Uncle Nick is a member there, and Nikki, and I just feel like it's such, like literally such a force, like your gym, that's the name of it. But, and I found myself getting emotional because it's like, your family doesn't realize what they're missing. Like you are, and like how far, I mean, just in hearing your story right now, how far you have come, and like you're literally I even just I think you posted something the other day, you do like a women's group or you something with women, and
why am I crying? I met you 10 minutes ago.
How much you've done for Nikki, and just like being such a yeah, I'm getting emotional too.
I know. Can I say
People
one
don't
thing?
realize what they're,
Right.
yeah, what they're missing. And you are such a, I don't
Yeah.
know. The world
I
is a
think
better
there's
place.
certain people that you meet in life and you can just tell that they're special and they have such like a beautiful soul, and you can sense that, as silly as it sounds, through social media and through what they say and what they talk about. And I really do genuinely believe, I'm literally crying, I met you 15 minutes ago, that you are genuinely a beautiful person. And like Christine said, it makes me sad that you have to go through this.
I know, but just like you walk into her gym, Carrie, and seriously, it says so much about you and Brock. Like the energy is insane.
It's like light. Like you can't.
Yeah, it's literally like, oh my gosh, this place is. Yeah, and so Nikki, I can imagine, you know, just having the Angie method, that community, and then this gym. It's like
Right.
God, it's just
And like, I just say what you were gonna say.
No, I don't know if it's gonna detract what you're gonna say,
No.
but like that's like even at the beginning, like when I was saying like I didn't come from anything, so like I always had this vision of like wanting this gym, and like me and my brother would talk about opening a gym, but it was always like a dream. So I used to tell Brock, like while we were opening Force, I'm like, I feel like for me he's like, it's a big deal, and I'm like, yeah, but for me it's like different because like nobody in my family does this. And I'm like, so for him, I'm like, your dad had a gym and like your family does things like this. And I'm like, so for me, like not a soul in my family has ever owned their own business. And
Right.
so like to actually see something I dreamed of and had so much passion and heart for actually come to life, and then to still have like them not even recognize it or really, I feel like care. It kind of made me realize even more like just who they are, I guess.
Totally. Cause like I'm going to get emotional too, but like Brittany, obviously you're like one of my closest friends, and we're going to grow. And when we, like, I even think of the friendship like you, me, and Lauren have, and like just how Brittany has the ability to see her clients. And it's so weird to even say clients, because like I feel like you treat everyone like a friend. You have the ability to see people and meet them really where they are. And the fact that you are a brave enough person to where you walked away from every single thing that you ever knew to be where you are now is like such an incredible thing, that anytime I doubt myself or anytime I'm in my head, I always think of you, and I always think of what you've done. And I'm like, if Brittany did this, I can do this. And the thing that I appreciate the most about you is like, you really are someone, like we do look at you like you're a part of our family, truly. And like you coming to Christmas and everything, like it really was just like an extension of our family. And it's been so cool to like share those moments with you and like share a family Christmas and stuff. And I've wanted my sisters to really like meet you and talk to you, because I knew they would have the same response that I do with you. And like, I just think that who you are now, even if you look back on pictures of Brittany, when like what she looked like then, and I'm not even talking about like physical, like your face, like you're just glowing from the inside out. And the thing that I love about you is like, you will look at things, like you find such gratitude in the things that we take for granted. You find such gratitude in the fact that like you have a beautiful apartment that you can go home to, and that your son's healthy, and that you have this business, even though, guys, she gets up at legitimately, I think 3 a.m. every day. 2:30, never says a word about it. She comes and her hair's like done and shit, and I can hardly roll out of bed. And then she leaves the gym, and then she's programming all day. She's doing personal stuff for you. Like,
I want to hear, a day in the life of Brittany.
Yeah. And like, and then she goes to, but she would never say that to anyone. Hardest worker I know. And like, you're just incredible. Seriously. I mean, just absolutely incredible.
What is your day? Like, what is a day in the life? I mean,
a day in the life. So I wake up at 2:30. If we have Lucas, I have 50-50 custody. So me and my ex have like a 2-2-3 schedule. So rotating like every 2 and 3 days. So I wake up 2:30. I'll eat a little something. I get ready for the day. I get Lucas ready for the day. Lucas is legit the most incredible child I've ever met in my life. This kid has been through everything, and he's not complained once.
Your son. I wonder why he's so
I know, right?
So we haul him in with us. We leave the apartment at like 3:30. He's in the car. We get to the gym. We have a couch in the office that like the back slides. So he goes in there, he sleeps. We get ready for the day. I do 5, 6, 7 a.m. classes. I work out at 8. And then depending on what day it is, sometimes I have a small group at 9:30 to 10:30. And then I run all the backhand of the business. So like bills, anything that needs to get handled, mind, body, any members with questions. So I do that until 3. And then I run 3:30, 4:30, 5:30 class. And then clean up for the day. Go home.
I am just gonna go.
And do like
I really feel like a worthless piece of shit.
What do you do at home? I'm really like, wait, so you get home and then what?
I gotta be a mom, so I gotta do Lucas's homework, dinner, baths, try to play with him for a little bit in the hour and a half we have before I want him to go to bed at 8:30 so we can get up at 2:30.
And
but like from working 5 jobs, this seems easy to me. Like this,
Right.
like I have one thing I have to do all day, and that's take care of Force. Like that's it. I don't have to do anything else. It's just Force.
So is that the same for the weekends? Like, do you have one day off?
We do now. We were 7 days a week, and then last November we are every other Sunday now because we'll stay home the weekend we have Lucas. We'll take Sunday off, but otherwise we're there Saturday and Sunday too.
Okay. And do you enjoy it? Do you?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And, like, I keep waiting to get burnt out, but like we just hired another well, not hired. She's subcontracted, but she covers 7 for me in the mornings because when Lucas has to be at school by 7:50. I have a 7 a.m. class. So like me and Brock were like back and forth tag team in the classes, but Olivia comes down, which is the biggest help ever. So I can legit like focus on Lucas then and get him ready for school, leave. It takes a half hour to take him to school and then a half hour back. So that's an hour of the day for school. And then she'll cover an evening if I need her to. So I can like, Brock has done that too. He's taken an evening, a night, so I can stay home with Lucas. Cause I was like, I really would like to focus more on being with him now that the gym's steady, we have flow, the members like understand the programming. And so I've gotten little breaks, and honestly, I get anxiety though. Like I can't sit still. Like if I'm at home, I'm still like trying to figure out like what I can do, like how I can help, like where can I, and I
see, you're so good. You're conditioned, and that's, I'm not at the moment.
And I think a lot of people, Carrie, are in your shoes. Like we're not all conditioned like that. Is there something that you do, Carrie, or you, Nikki, or you, Brittany, that like for our listeners that are like, okay, yeah, this lady is.
Well, I will say, I think Brittany has really taught me so what you've really taught me is that like talking about fitness, because I think she has taught me that fitness and food and all that stuff, just like the Angie method, Christine, it really connects. And what she practices is really what you and I think have learned in the sense that like you really are about being gentle on yourself. And like, even though you don't always practice what you preach and you can be hard on yourself, she really like the way she has taught me about consistency and stuff is like, it happens over a period of time. So like looking at like just the other day, she posted a story that she was tell the story of when you woke up late and you were like, I'm not going to look at this as a bad thing. It's like the way she looks at things.
Yesterday I woke up, we're usually at the gym at 4:10. I woke up at 4:15 at home in bed still. And I was like, oh God, I have a 5 a.m. class. So I left in my pajamas, grabbed Lucas, just took off, got on the highway. Highway was shut down. So I had to go the opposite way, ended up making it to the gym with like 15 minutes before 5 a.m. So I made it. And then I had to like get Lucas to school. I had to go all the way back home. So I was like rushing to get him done, got him to school, was going back to the gym, and there was like dead stop traffic. And like all morning I was just like, you woke up late. Okay. But you made it to class. Class ran fine. I'd forgot my notebook with like everybody's numbers, but everybody was patient and I was able to find everybody's numbers. While they were looking for them, I was like, Lucas made it to school. So I was like, instead of like, typically I would let those mornings like consume me and put me in this like anxiety state. And I'm like, look at what everything got done. I'm like, everything got done. It's fine. And so it's just like working on like correcting my mental thoughts and not being so negative on things in that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that goes hand in hand with like fitness. I feel like women can get so caught up in being like, I'm not at this point. I'm not at this goal. I'm like, doing the right things with my diet and like I'm working out as much as I should. And it's just like you got to be more gentle with yourself and have the patience and try different things. Sometimes certain things don't work. And like I told Nikki, called me the other day, and I told her, I'm like, even if you don't get to the gym, control what you can control. You can control what goes in your mouth. You control how much you drink. You can control if you go outside for a walk. I'm like, you don't have to go to the gym. Don't put that stress on yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kara.
No, and I think fitness is awesome, and I know that's a huge part of your life, but I, for some reason, am very intrigued by your marriage, because I feel like you and Brock, like, not just from what you post, but you guys just seem like the most perfect couple in the world. And I know that Instagram is not always reality, but I guess I would just ask you, what's one thing or any advice? And I don't know when you got married, because I'm somewhat newly married. But I don't know. I just am like, oh, I wish my husband and I were like as happy as they are. But
I can tell you, we fight. We do. And I think
that's kind of what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, we do. We literally had to fight like before we went on vacation. We had to fight. And I think that's how, like, I wish more people talked about that as well too, because I do think people like will look at us and think we have this like beautiful, perfect relationship, but like where we get stronger is in our fights. Like we learn more about each other and how like we can communicate together. We both feel like we saved each other. He was in a bad state. I was in a bad state. We were both our comfort, and he calls me and Lucas his angels because he has had his demons that he battles. But I mean, he was different to me because I had always had this vision of like what I wanted love to be and how I felt like I should be loved. And I was like, I never assumed that was real. I was like, movies, things like that made me believe that this love exists, and it just does not. And I will give him that. Like, he makes me feel more love than I ever thought I would feel. That's amazing. So I was like, I always feel like women should know, like, the love you do think you feel, like you should feel that. So like, don't ever settle for anything less. And I've had girlfriends that have, and it's just, I don't know, it's just heartbreaking to see when I know they're not happy, but they think like I did. They don't think there's a love that matches what they're looking for.
Yeah. And I feel like I can relate. And I don't know if you know, Brittany, but that I'm married, I was divorced and remarried. And I, like you go through, at least for me, you go through life and you're like checking off the boxes, right? Like I also met my ex, Colton's father, when I was 18, I think I was. Yeah. And, we were married at, I don't know, I think I was 25, had Colton at 27 or 26. I don't know the timeline, but, and, I just feel like you just kind of, I don't know if it's like social conditioning or how you're raised or whatever, but like, my biggest thing is like, I have nothing bad to say about Colton's dad. He's a wonderful father and stuff like that. So I'm not going there, but I just wish like I knew at that time, you don't need to do this because, the world says you have to get married and you have to check off these boxes and stuff. Like nobody should settle until A, you're ready, and like B, if you are in a position where it isn't right for you, or there's addiction, or it's simply you're not in love, whatever the case may be. Like it makes it that much harder when you have, like, for example, your family who's not supporting you when you're going through something like that. Or I don't know. I don't really know what I'm getting at with this, but like I just wish there was less judgment when it came to that. I felt so judged when, Brian and I split up because kind of like you, I know that my immediate family, they knew some things and stuff, but our friends knew nothing of what was going on. And so it came as such a shock. And because I was the one that, initiated this, and, he wasn't actively like, I want to get a divorce. He wasn't for it. It wasn't his. I was looked at as kind of the bad person, and the rumors and just all of that. I just think it's so unfair in this world, society, women. Like, I just wish there was less judgment, and like, I guess the point I'm getting at is like, you really don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You have no idea what that person is that you're talking to or looking at is battling. And, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking back on all the rumors I heard, because I met my now husband very soon after,
Brian and I split up, honestly.
It's very similar. And I was like, it's not something that I meant to happen, nor did I ever assume would happen like that.
Right.
But it truly was not. And none of it was at all premeditated. There was no cheating in any way, shape, or form at any point. And yeah, just I don't know. I think the judgment can be really hard, and people need to be more supportive and all of that. I don't know if this is getting anywhere, but I just figured.
I agree with that. And I think more people need to, I think in a way, I'm grateful in a lot of ways for what I did have to go through, just because it's made me stronger, but it's also made me more like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care if people like me. I don't care what they say about. I had so many people telling me to avoid Brock and that he was this nasty person and he has this horrible past. And I'm like, he's been nothing but like gentle with me. So, and my, like, if people want to say what they're going to, I think I just wish more people were courageous in that way, like just doing what they believed that they wanted to do, followed their heart and not worry so much about what anybody else is going to say.
Right.
Because if I would have listened, I would have stayed with my ex and I wouldn't know anybody I know now. I wouldn't be where I am. And that's even sadder.
Yeah. I just thought that, especially with Brock, because, you know, he wasn't having the best luck in his life either. And he didn't have the brightest reputation. And I think like you really took a chance on someone that you loved. And I think that takes such courage, because it's like, I look at him now and it's like, it's just wild. I mean, even just to what he was like 6 years ago, he's just a different person in a lot of ways. And I think you're a huge part of that. And so is Lucas. But I wanted to ask her one question, unless you guys had something.
No, please.
No, go ahead.
So I wanted you, if you're open to talking about this, I know one thing, because I think sometimes you're one of these people where women would look at and be like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's always been built like this, or she's always, you know, this is whatever. Like you can just make an excuse. She's beautiful. She's amazing. She's a freaking Lululemon ambassador. I could never be that kind of stuff. So if you can talk a little bit about like just your experiences you've had with like food and then your anxiety and stuff like that, and how you've really overcome that and kind of moved. And like, I hate the word overcome, because I think we're constantly overcoming things, but like just how you've moved through that.
Yeah. I had an eating disorder when I was probably 18 to 22. I was on the whole eat maybe 500 calories Monday through Friday, and then eat packages of Oreos and ice cream all weekend. Right. And then just cycle back through. And I weighed like 115 pounds. I'm 145 now for reference. So that's why I always encourage women. I'm like, don't look at the scale. Like what you want on the scale is not what you want to look like. But at the time, I didn't think anything was wrong, because I was trying to get skinny. I was like, I'm eating, I'm working out, I'm doing all the right things, but I wasn't eating enough. I was malnourished. How do you say that word? Malnourished. I don't know the word. Malnourished. But now I lost track.
You weren't eating enough.
I wasn't eating enough. And then I finally, I was tired. I kind of got out of it before I got pregnant. I was got into more trying to fuel my body. I started doing more research, and I was tired of feeling weak. I could tell my hair was thin, my nails were thin, my skin wasn't doing well. I looked gross, just frail, and I was tired of feeling weak. So I got onto a better track. I was eating better. I was lifting weights, doing less cardio. And then I had Lucas, and that's why it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't ever go away. There's always this constant battle with your mind of trying to take you back there. And I went back there postpartum because I was trying to lose the baby weight. And so I got real extreme again. That's when I met Nikki, I was 7% body fat.
I didn't want to say that, but she was real thin.
So thin. I was overtraining, but it was just that mental state had won over me again. And I was you can't help it. It's like an addict state. I was addicted to controlling what I could put in my mouth, controlling how much I worked out. And even now, if I feel like I've overate or I'm not looking too good, every once in a while, Brock will be like, what'd you eat for breakfast? Did you eat lunch? And I'll try to make excuses. And then he's like, you need to go eat something. It's still a constant thought in my head of you got to eat less, Brittany. You got to eat a little less. And I got to fight it. I got to be no, I want to be strong. I want to lift weights. I need to fuel my body. And so like women will ask like how you overcome that. I'm like, you don't. Like you just learn to like quiet the voice, but it doesn't ever go away. So like you can't just wait for this day where you're gonna wake up and be like, I'm not gonna think like that anymore.
Right.
Like I don't like my body. I don't like how I look. I could pick myself apart and tell you all the things I don't like. And I've been as thin as I have, and I've way more now. And I've always done that. Like you're always gonna have something you don't like about yourself. So you might as well just like learn to love it. Like you just learn to love every step of the journey, which is why like at Force, we will never do like a 6-week body weight loss program. Like I don't believe in that stuff.
Or like 75 hard. What are your thoughts on? Yeah.
She-
Angie, the Angie method. They're like the same. They don't
Stress me out. I like people at the gym want to do it. I'm like, you do it. And then I can tell you 4 or 5 people have done it at the gym and they said they'll never do it again. And I'm like, I told you, like, it's just for me that I'm like, I don't need any extra steps in my day. I'm good. Like, I don't need to add to my list of
and then to beat yourself up if you miss a day or you don't, it's like, it's
I feel like a bad mental state to put somebody in when they're already obviously struggling to stay on track. So to make them feel even more guilty for like missing a day, I'm like, this is a journey. Like you have your entire life to be any shape or size. And why rush it? Like, why have a set date on anything? Why have a set timeline? There's sometimes where you're going to weigh a little bit more and that's okay. And then there's sometimes you may not, you'll look like jacked and great. And it's just your whole life. Like, I don't like putting timelines on stuff.
I've never heard you like before Destin, before everything. I've never heard her say before a trip, before any event, oh, I'm eating different. Everything's just like this, consistent. And like I'm not exaggerating. She is the only trainer I've had where it's like, she encourages me to take up space. Like she'll be like, I'll go to squat or something. I remember I used to kind of be embarrassed on like how much I could lift for a girl. Yeah. And I remember like you being like, you do this all the time. Like you could go heavier. Mm-hmm. Why are you going light on that? Do this. Like one time what was that thing I did with 100 pounds? And I was like, squats? I did a goblet squat with 100 pounds and I did like 5 to 10 of them.
You did the single leg rip.
Wow. Yeah.
250.
No. But like, I would have never done that. And what Brittany has taught me is like, there's girls in the gym that will be like, I can never do a pull-up. Just last night, there were girls in the gym saying, I could never do that. I could never. And Brittany's like, but have you actually tried to do it? Mm-hmm. And then they try it and they do it. And she's like, see? And I can imagine your face. You get this big smile and she's like, see? And she's just so passionate about what she's doing and really bringing women together, women in particular, that it's like, I don't know. It's just so cool. Like, I think because I have such a gift.
I've felt so broken. So like, I don't want other women to feel broken.
Yeah.
Which
is amazing. Like women supporting women. Seriously though, like because you know what it's like to feel that way and you don't want any other person to feel like that. Gosh.
You're like the women's event because that's how I've met all my best friends is through fitness. So I'm like, why not bring those people together? Because I think for women, it is such like a gray area. Like most women's friends don't work out or do things like that. But if you can find women that live this healthy lifestyle that aren't partying and drinking and doing these like things that aren't that great, that are doing more positive things with their lives, it's just going to make you better too.
100%.
Oh, true.
Like we created, we have like a little book club now with like a couple women from the gym, just like a couple of us that want to continue to get better. And like, we're reading books that like right now we're reading Stillness is the Key by Ryan Holiday, like books like that where, do you have it, Christine? That's so weird.
Ooh, haven't read it yet, but I will.
I know, but so like we're doing stuff like that. And that's so encouraged. Like she wouldn't say this, but she had like people on the wait list for this women's event. She had all women-owned businesses there. Like it was all women-owned businesses that she has supported. And it's been so cool to see, like to sit around with a bunch of girls and be like, like when I came here, I couldn't even do a chest press. And now I bench 137 or and I remember like watching old videos of like a women-owned gym where it was only women that were allowed to go and they were like screaming and like happy. And I'm like, that's 5 a.m. Like that's literally how it is.
I wish we had that out here, Christine. Something like
you guys just lived here sometimes. Oh, you would love it.
I really feel like, Brittany, since I've had my boys, I feel like, and I was always fairly steady. Like I would go in spurts where I would kind of like, stop working out. But for the most part, I've always been fairly steady. But like since I've had the boys and they just turned 8 months, I just feel like, and I don't know if it's because like it's been like winter, but I just feel like I'm having such a hard time getting back into it. And I know I have to give myself grace and like postpartum and all of that, but like, I don't know if it's like a postpartum depression thing, but my motivation is just not like, I wish almost, and not like I'm making an excuse, like I need a group to like motivate me, but that really does help. Like,
Does help.
You know what I mean?
A lot of women, even just postpartum, they think like that's what I hate about social media is women will post and it's like they make you think like 5 months after baby you should be. I didn't feel like working out or like myself until Lucas was probably like 14 months old.
Same.
Like I did not feel myself. My workouts felt crappy, and like I was like, I have to remember like my body was not my body for almost a year.
Yeah.
So like it takes time for it to feel good again. Like I just remember feeling like deflated for like the longest time. And so like that's normal. That's normal.
Yeah. And that's a thing. Like I forced myself to like get on the Peloton or go walk or even walk on the treadmill. But like, I just don't, it's so weird. It's the weirdest feeling I've ever had. Like, I just don't feel like it. Like, I just don't enjoy it. Like, it's not even like, oh, if you do it, you'll feel so good after. Like, I just am like, it's so weird.
I was like that.
It is a mindset, I think, right? Like, I didn't realize, and Nikki, I don't know if you can speak on this, but like, and this sounds so silly. I didn't realize how helpful walking was. Like when I started this group and they're like, yeah, make sure to get your steps in like 10 to 15,000, which by the way, I'm sedentary most of the day. I work from home, but if I get up like 3 times throughout the day, I'll hit my 10,000 steps, but I had no idea like how much of a difference that makes, just like going for a walk. I mean, and Carrie, I don't know if that helps you just like getting outside or walking around, but like
it's getting out. It's being inside too. I think has really been like, I think summer, it's just nicer weather. The sun will help me because it's,
And I think too, with twins and it's normal to feel tired and like less motivated. And I feel like there shouldn't be all this pressure to like, you don't need to, if you're not, I don't know. I'm one, like, if you're not in the right frame of mind, if you don't feel up to it, like, don't force yourself to do something you don't like, but do things that you do like. What if that's like, I don't know.
Doing that in mind too, though. Like, I mean, I stayed at home and with twins and Lucas, and I looked forward to going to work. So like the fact that you're home with them and like Nikki said, you work too, that's a lot on your body. Like that's exhausting on its own. I feel like you have it harder than I do. I could like staying home with kids. That's a lot.
And twins.
Yeah. That's
and
a
Carrie,
lot of work.
you have to remember too, like I want to give you all this advice, but I heard this one time and you've helped me with this too. Cause I felt like my pelvic floor, like everything was wrecked. And Brittany was like, you said this to me, B, you were like, Nikki, it took you basically 10 months to grow this baby. Like it took you 10 months. If you think about that, Carrie, it's basically a year. Not just to grow one baby, you grew 2. So you think about that. Your body, I honest to God, did not feel normal until Layla was 18 months old. And this like isn't talked about enough. Your body was in like survival mode. And then your body went through a trauma giving birth. So now your whole life has changed. And like, this is where I think she has helped me switch my thinking. This is the time when I really beat the shit out of myself. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? Like, how am I not working out?
Yeah. Why am I like being so lazy? It's like,
I'm so lazy. But then it was like, what changed for me is I got to a place where I wanted to start to work out again. And then I found more of a community. And then, you know what I mean? And then when I came to Force, it was like, I needed more of what they were offering and stuff.
And I think that's hard too, because women online will post like they're back in the gym, like 6 months, I got clear from my doctor. And I'm like, okay, well, the doctor's clear pretty much everybody after 6 weeks. But did they actually like do a pelvic exam and seeing women like squatting and doing like movements? I'm like, well, you should be doing the same movements you were doing 12 weeks pregnant while you're postpartum because your core is trashed. So like
I made that mistake with my first and second.
It's not talked about though. Like women
No.
don't know. And the doctors are just like, yep, looks great. There's no blood, nothing. You're good. Go
Isn't
ahead.
that incredible? Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And there's no support for, like, I don't even know what it's called, like pelvic floor therapy or anything. Like, my back is fucked. I mean, it's like.
And I never even heard the term diastasis recti. Like, literally, it took me getting pregnant with AJ for somebody to be like, bring it up. And I was like, wait, what? What's that?
What is that, Christine?
Diastasis recti?
It's so common. It's when you have ab separation, because your abs separate and then, your belly grows. And then a lot of people, like, they'll go right back into working out like me, doing, sit-ups and all the things you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then, luckily, I mean, I didn't get that big of a separation, but I just had no clue about strengthening my pelvic floor. But after having AJ, like, I couldn't do a Kegel, like, without, you know what I mean? Because I just didn't have any pelvic floor strength. And just now is when I'm doing, like, I'm only, 13 months. Not only, I'm 13 months postpartum, and I'm still not really, I'm doing still a lot of pelvic floor stuff. Like,
well, and that's what women talk about, like leakage after kids. And they're like, oh, you don't know, you don't have kids. But I'm like, that's actually abnormal. Like, you can work on that and there is no leakage. Or I feel like that's almost over talked now about doing pelvic floor exercises when, like, mine's overactive. So, like, I have to learn to relax mine because I'm so tense all the time. And so, like, some women are doing the pelvic floor, it's actually doing more damage because they're already tight. So it's just like, it's a very, like, fine line. Carrie, is there a Pilates place by you? Pilates is very good.
There's cornfields by me.
There's cornfields. Get a donut,
so maybe like YouTube, find like a Pilates.
Food, you certainly can find that. Yeah.
Pilates is very good though for like your pelvic floor and like rebuilding that.
Yeah. I would love to do Pilates. I could really.
And Brittany, I remember Carrie, and like, you guys should talk too, because Brittany was going to do like pelvic floor type stuff for you. And she's helped me. Like, she set something up for me to where after workouts, like, I can do these certain ab exercises because and I'm telling you, like, my lower back hasn't hurt in a long time. I mean, it's like, which is insane because you guys, I mean, I have huge boobs. It's not, but it's like, it hasn't affected me to the level that it was between I started going to an actual chiropractor who really helped me, and then Matt helped me, and then but you, and like showing me properly, like, I thought you showed me the other day how to do freaking kettlebell. I was like, fuck, I've been doing these wrong my whole life.
I probably.
I'm like, was somebody going to correct me? Or
I thought I was an expert.
I mean, like in CrossFit, I don't know how you guys do them, but like, they raise them to the ceiling, and it's like,
like I
don't even know what I was working out then. And my husband, he was a big CrossFit person, and so we put our gym in the basement, and he's like, the kettlebell's gonna hit the ceiling. When I was like, yeah, it's not supposed to go that high, dude. You're not like throwing it over your head, but at CrossFit, you're just swinging that thing up as high as you don't know what you're working.
Like, are you working out your shoulders?
I don't know. And then somebody told me it's like, it's for your, I don't know, hinge at the hips or whatever. I learned how to do it the right way. Yeah. And I'm just like, it's just amazing how, I don't know. There was what was I going to ask? Oh,
I have a question after you.
Yeah, I wanted to know, obviously you're a certified personal trainer. Did you go to college? Did you go immediately to get your, what was that all about? Education?
No, I went to, I hate school. I was not in school. I'm very more hands-on. So I actually got like a Groupon personal training certification when I was 19 just to sell stuff online. I was like, I need something. So I'm not like an idiot. And it was $600 on Groupon, but you have to like keep up credits to keep your certification. So like I did all the little certifications, but then now I just like retake it every 2 years. So like I've done NCCPT and the ACE. I went to college for a semester and then dropped, but I just did like my strength and conditioning certification,
which is amazing,
which is really hard, and got that. And then I am pre and postnatal certified for exercises and stuff, just because I don't feel like I figured out if I own a gym, like we have, 5 or 6 postpartum women right now. So like I wanted to be able to help women in that aspect too, when they work out. But that too, like I didn't go to no big name school, and like I did enough about it, you can find ways to do it and do it the correct way.
And she underestimates herself. Like Brock will say, I love it because Brock will call you out on that, because Brock is a really good trainer. He really is. Like, he knows what he's talking about. And between the two of them, they really made each other better. But Brock will like outright say, and he grew up in a gym. He grew up around whatever. And he will outright be like, she's the best trainer I know. Like, I would arguably say you really are the best trainer I've ever had. Just in the sense,
men as well.
100%, because the knowledge that she has and the care that she puts into like each client, especially the women. But it's funny because with men too, like she just knows, like I've trained with a lot of women that they just don't really understand a woman's body, where like Brittany has really taken the time to understand like the anatomy of a woman's body. So
I think that's what's weird, like, because I'm not good at school or anything, but like I can like watch somebody move and know how to help them, or like know what they need to do, or like
that's so
modifications super quick. So like that's where I'm like, that's why I feel that's the way I get better, is I like doubt myself. I want to always be better than I am, but like I have come to like terms with that, where I'm like, I literally like can look at somebody and fix what they're doing, or like help them alternate what they're doing. Or if they're like, this hurts or that hurts, I'm like, all right, let's do this instead. And that makes me more comfortable. I'm like, clearly I'm in the right realm, because everything else is hard to me and this is easy.
Totally. Yeah. Carrie, what were you going to ask?
I was going to ask you, so with you and Brock starting Force Performance, I really admire anyone that can just start a business like that. And I guess if you were to give a word of advice to anyone out there who's thinking of starting a business or whatever it is, I mean, obviously you guys were probably scared doing it. I mean, you probably had thoughts of this could potentially fail, or clearly it hasn't. Like, what would you say? Like, what would be your advice?
I would say to just trust yourself. I mean, for us, it was supposed to be like a 5-10 year plan. We were independent contractors at a different gym, and we were like, we'll worry about ourselves in 5 to 10 years. But I really was like harping on Brock that I missed like group classes, and this gym just couldn't hold it. And he's like, we'll like start looking at spaces. And Force was the place we had was the first location we looked at, and we're like, it's perfect. And I feel like you just start taking like the little steps. Like, we didn't plan on getting it. We're just like, you know what? We'll start looking. Let's see what happens. And I mean, it was expensive. Force is like over $1 million, but like we literally put all that we have into Force, and we're like, we either succeed or we don't. I mean, the first year we were opening
the building.
Huh?
You own the building?
Yeah, we rent, but we're not in debt to anything or anyone. We didn't take any like bank loans out or anything like that. Like, we put all that we had into it, and it was like sink or swim. I'm like, we have to believe in ourselves enough that we're going to give our all, and that we have something special here to build. And like, that's where Brock believes more in myself than I did. He's like, you have something, Britt, like what you do is special, and we can create that here and build it. And so I think just trusting yourself, like if you have this gut feeling, even when I was going through my single mom thing, I always felt like God was like guiding me. I was always just like, I would just wake up and I'd be like, all right, like I'm trusting you today. Like, where am I going? What am I doing? I'll follow my path. And that's what like I've continued to do. It's just like, all right, you're pointing me here. This is where I'm going. I'll keep following. So like if your gut and heart is telling you, like pulling you to that direction, then that's where you should just go. I would just follow it and lead with it.
Wow.
That's incredible. I was going to, without getting too personal, I was going to ask you like a little bit about your faith. Like if, you know, that's something if you pray, if you are a firm believer in God, like you seem like, again, you seem like somebody who is on the right path in life. And it's always intriguing figuring out if people have,
I believe in that. Yeah, I believe in him 100%. We go to church. We go to the Crossing in Chesterfield, which Brock took me to. I grew up Catholic. But even I've always talked to him, even when I was like little. Like I would talk to him, or like my grandpa passed when I was like 14. So like I talked to him, and me and Brock talk about it. Like I fully believe there are human beings that are angels. Like Nikki, I believe is like one of my angels. Like I'm comfortable with her, and Nikki, I cry to her. I'm drawn to her. And like, so there's just certain people, like you see them and you're just like, there's something unique about you. And I feel like you're an angel. Like So very religious, very belief, and we pray, and Brock is too, and I love that about him. So yeah.
Is it weird to say you kind of remind me of my mom? Sorry.
Your mom.
Have you ever thought that, Nikki? I feel like I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think sometimes in the way she has in how like bright she is, she has a lot of the same energy and just how much I
know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're really special. She's
isn't she?
yeah.
Really. But you're talking about angels, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure I just met one, a real life one. So,
Nikki, yeah.
No, she really, I mean, like really and truly, I see what you mean, Christine, because the thing that I was thinking when you were talking about the gym, like Brittany's biggest goal, you know how people say, like I say for me, I'm like, I want to help people, but 99% of the time I'm talking about Nikki. I mean, that's my natural disposition.
Yeah.
Carrie talking about Nikki the whole goddamn day long. She's laughing. It's true.
I mean, do I have to go for this class? No, fuck Nick, you don't.
I just told Nikki, can I just tell Nikki this morning? So I have to say this. This morning I was like, yeah, Nikki, you know, I was doing like, I don't know, like a Bible study or like a reflection or whatever it is. And I was like, you know, how do I say this to her? I was like, you know, it was talking a lot about how you should be less about self and more about, I was like trying to be nice. And Nikki was like, oh yeah, so you're saying that I'm just all about self. And I was like, well, no, Nikki, I'm just saying that like, you know, God really wants us to be more about like, which is funny because you're so like, you want to help everyone else.
So about other, and that's why she's such a good influence for me because she really is so about
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You focus on me.
No, I just love her so much. She's just so like
you. I do have to tell this story one time, and Lauren will laugh when she watches this. Lauren and I got into an argument, and I duked it out with her, and she was done with me and whatever.
I bet she's no one to F with either.
No, and we were duking it out, and Brittany was literally between the two of us, and Brittany was like, Lauren, Nikki's just a psycho. Just let her say her bullshit. And that's how Brock is. And, you know, you got me and Brock, the two nuts. And she goes, Nikki's a complete nut. You know how she is. Just let her tell you to go fuck yourself 75 times. And then once she does, she'll get over it. It's fine. And Brittany's like, I know how you are. It's fine.
Let her bitch and then tell her to go fuck herself.
right, exactly. And then she'll call you and apologize.
Yeah,
and then
exactly. And say, you know.
Brittany goes, it'll be over in no time.
Yeah.
Just get in the car and wait with your phone.
I mean, oh my
Nikki,
God.
have you and Brock ever gotten into it?
Yeah, we just did. No, it was the funniest. We just did.
Do you want to
But
tell
like
me
for real, or were you kind of joking?
No. So me and Brock had like a bicker before our vacation, and Nikki was there. Brock came and was like, we went outside to talk, and she's very protective, I've learned, of me.
He was being a dick.
He was being a little
really
dick.
was.
So she comes out, broad daylight, in a parking lot, comes out, looks at Brock and goes, "You're a pussy."
It wasn't the first thing I said. We were duking it out, and he was going, "Okay, Nikki, yeah, see ya, Nikki." I go, "You're a pussy," you know, whatever, and we're fighting. And then he calls me, and I leave him a voice note. I'm really sorry. He calls me, and then we have a heart to heart, and then we're fine.
I literally was in the car talking to him. He's holding his phone. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Nikki's gonna call."
Nikki's gonna call. Okay. And then he had a voice note from me, and then he called me, and then we talked. We literally had a heart to heart, and then we worked out.
Yeah,
2 hours.
They
later.
came. Then she came to the gym.
We
and
went
were all
to the
like
gym.
crying and
yeah. No, it was fine.
Nikki, what do you think it is? Like, do you think sometimes you just get like?
I just think.
Do you think sometimes you need a little spice?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you just need to get going on
I
somebody.
just need an edge. I need an edge.
It's like a snap.
So it's a snap, and I got to fight with somebody.
Because you're sober, so you kind of need that.
Yeah, I
thriller
need
piece.
someone to spruce things up a little bit.
Right.
A little.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's entertaining.
But Carrie, I do have to say, she reminds me of Carrie in the sense that she's a little bit quieter, and she's surrounded by these people
I'm really getting sick of that narrative about Carrie being all quiet and shit.
No.
It's really,
Hear me out, Christine.
all right.
Carrie,
I think I'm more introverted compared to you guys.
more introverted.
More
And I would say
introverted, okay.
Brittany reminds me of Carrie, where Christine can stay compared to us, can stay a little bit more like this.
man,
Okay.
way more like
So
that.
sometimes it's like, hello, do you have a
You're like,
feeling?
hello, can you fight back?
Do you have a feeling?
Same.
Right. And Brock will be like, hey, Brittany, do you have an emotion? Like, it's like, and
That's how Brad is. Brad wants me to fight, I swear, sometimes.
No,
Carrie.
I swear, Carrie will literally be like, sounds good one, Christine. And
Right.
I'm
I'm like, Carrie, I'm gonna rip your throat out because you're having no reaction to me.
her car.
Brad is like,
She's
Brock,
like,
oh,
sounds
no
good.
ways. Yeah.
Like that's what we'll fight, and I'll be like, shh, you're loud. Stop. Quiet.
No, literally.
Why are you yelling?
Why are you yelling? God.
But Carrie's surrounded. She's married to a guy that is like just loud. Like but he's an introvert, but he's like Brock in those ways.
That's
And then-
so funny.
And then she's close to us and
Funny.
Debbie and Lily, of course. And Lily, God bless her, she's quieter too. But
Yeah,
the rest of us are in her face all the time. And you're surrounded by people
Yeah.
in your face all the time, including me.
We're just meant to be around loud people
Yeah.
because we're so like
Exactly.
you guys don't bother us when you like
Right.
say shit. We're just
Right.
like whatever. Like
Yeah. It's
Carrie's
entertaining.
really good for me like that. I'm all the time. I'm like, God, can I have just a percentage of what Carrie? You'll just sit there and like,
Christine, you got to give yourself more credit though, because you are like, Christine used to fly off the handle, and I admire you, Christine. You have like really evened out, and you're so much more even keel. And like, seriously, I mean, it's pretty
Carol
awesome.
weekend when I was in your house. I wouldn't call that even keeled, right, Carol?
What happened?
I was, and you kept going, Christine, you got to keep it down. I have a meeting.
Yeah.
Had a little situation I was dealing with.
Yeah. That's maybe podcast 10 or 11.
Layla, I do have to tell this one story. Layla will now lift up her shirt and tell me that she has abs like Brittany.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
she punches me in the stomach.
Yeah.
She'll be like, cool.
Well, because she punches mine and says it's squishy. So,
She told
and
me
then
I'm-
she told you that.
she goes, no, it's hard.
Right. And then she'll be like, Brittany. And she's acting like she's doing a pull up and Brittany's lifting her. And she's like this. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm doing a lot of pull ups.
Wait, maybe her and Lucas.
I know.
Yeah.
right?
I'm hoping.
Brett, how many followers you have on Instagram now?
What?
But, okay, let's talk about where, wait, what?
I asked her how many followers she had on Instagram now.
105,000.
No problem.
Wow.
It's small.
Yeah, it's so tiny.
Yeah, I know. I got 1,000. Actually, I don't even have 1,000. That's pathetic.
How long is it taking you to like build up to it?
Honestly, Instagram was easier when I started it, when I was 20. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had the over 100 since I was probably 24, 25. It's
Okay.
so hard now to build though,
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
just because it's so saturated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reels and stories and
Yeah.
posts and like, it's like, what do I do? What makes people happy? I don't know.
Okay, got it.
Are you on TikTok?
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
like I don't have time for that.
I
Yeah.
know. That's
To get you
and
to
do you do all your own like social media, or do you have somebody that does
I
your-
run all of it. I'm very controlling in that sense. I
Okay.
like, even with the business, like I want to do all of it.
right?
Yeah. Which I wanted to say, Brock's not like sitting there on his hands.
No,
She literally
But I-
wants to
I
do
want
all
it.
of it.
he
No.
wants to help, but I'm like, you can't.
Right.
No.
Gosh,
He's
this was so
Moni.
much fun.
Yeah.
guys. Oh. Is there anything else that we missed? I mean, I feel like this was just so fun. I loved it. I don't know.
No, I mean, honestly, Britt, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
On.
having
Are
me.
you open to new members and all that? Like, is your
Come on in. Come down to Force, Brentwood, Strassner Drive.
Mm-hmm.
We have classes 5, 6, 7.
Great.
and-
Also, for those that are nervous to go to a gym, I know a ton of people that are like, they
Yeah.
feel out of place. Like, what's the vibe? What, like,
I think
you know,
a lot of people are a little intimidated by us just because like what we post is like people lifting big weights.
yeah.
I would think the biggest thing to remember is like it's not your typical class. You literally are coming in. It is your hour. I demo the workout. You have the hour to complete what's on the board. And then that way I can walk around and like modify things if you need to. So everything can be like adjusted to any
Right.
fitness level. So people see like, oh God, they're lifting so much, but it's like but you don't see like maybe somebody's in the corner using dumbbells or they have a kettlebell or like everybody's kind of doing their own thing and nobody's judging anybody there.
Ever.
And then we have like our cardio high performance days, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So those are more like our sweat days that people are scared of because they think it's hard, but tend to be like their favorite days.
Yeah.
Because you can just turn off and go.
Do you guys have like childcare or anything? No.
No, the kids just come and play with all of us.
Oh, they do.
Really
That's
do.
cute. Yeah, I know my kids were there, which was so welcome, like nice that you guys allowed that and stuff.
Yeah. We got like a toy box and like Lucas is there. So I don't know. We just like them being a part of it. If they get bored, they just go sit up front and play on the tablets or something.
And she's so cool about that too, of just like letting them, like, she's just like, make sure they don't touch this, make sure, and then that's it. And then like, it's just so, because I've made a lot of good mom friends through that too.
I mean,
then my Layla has become, I actually have a picture of all the Force kids.
Oh my God.
I need to send it to you. It's really cool.
I think just for, I mean, eventually I would like to get like a childcare area, but I would never tell somebody they couldn't because of their kids, just because I've taken Lucas everywhere. And I know how hard that can be to find like a sitter. And I want a mom to never like be able not to come just because they have a kid. Someone's like, just bring your kid. Yeah.
Totally.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. Well, this was seriously, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this was such a pleasure, Brittany. Really, truly.
My
Like
favorite podcast ever.
Oh, thanks, me. No, but
I missed what you said. What'd you say?
Brock and you are the only people that call me B.
are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel honored. Angels. No, but I'm just so glad you finally have gotten to meet my sisters and love you. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye.
This is where we get a little bit
Awkward because we don't know how to end it. So